Hello amiibros, this is Jason of Game&Shock, so welcome to my updated PlayStation 2 collection for 2020. So, last year when I did this, I had 74 games in my PS2 collection. Now, I have 179 games. Yes, that's over 100 games I've accumulated since last time. And originally, I was going to do this video a couple months ago, and then I found out that a couple days ago that today, October 26th, will mark 20 years of the PlayStation 2's release here in North America. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to do a collection video and to celebrate the PlayStation 2's 20th anniversary. And like my original Xbox collection, I've got 6 big stacks staring at me, and but enough stalling. So now, let's start. Okay, so we're going to start with my loose disc games first. I've got a couple of good games in here. So we got SOCOM, the first one. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. It's just the first SOCOM. I don't have any of the others. EverQuest Online Adventures. I wonder if this one still works, considering that online is for the PS2. MVP Baseball 2003. I've got a couple sports games in here. 007 Nightfire. That's a great Bond game. MLB 07 The Show. I don't have a lot to say about most of these since I haven't played a lot of them. Starsky and Hutch. SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 featuring ECW. And International Winter Sports 2002. And this one's technically not a game, but it's the Namco Transmission version 1.03 demo disc. It's the one that comes with Soul Calibur 2. Alright, now let's get to the piles themselves. Okay, so pile number 1, we're going to start with one of the biggest games for the PS2, and that is God of War and God of War 2. These games are amazing. If I were to describe these games in one word, that would be epic. These games are so fun and so epic. Pretty much anything and everything that walks in front of Kratos is dead before they're even dead. Alright, next.
Hey, come on over. It's time to have some fun with Crazy Taxi.
This game is just so much fun. Like, and it's so ridiculous, but like you can't help but love it. It's the one game where you can bring a guy to Pizza Hut while destroying the streets of San Francisco. Well, more specifically, destroying the cars in San Francisco. Alright, next is Shinobi. Haven't played that much of this one. Just picked it up recently, and it's pretty good from what little I have played of it. Alright, next is Tetris Worlds. Tetris is Tetris, but this Tetris has a story mode. Ooh, I see what you're trying to do, Tetris. You're trying to change the formula a bit, I see. Alright, next is Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection. Also a game that's really nostalgic for me. This was one of my first games I got for my PS2 back when I was a kid. And it's still fun to this day for me. Like, just going back and gives me that nice nostalgic tingle. Alright, next is Cars. And then I also got Cars Meteor National Championship. Cars, it doesn't work for me, unfortunately. Which sucks, because I don't think I ever played it that much when I was a kid. And then Meteor National Championship, I beat this game last year. It was decent, but nothing mind-blowing at all. Alright, next is Strike Force Bowling. Yet another game already, and we're only like 7 games in, and this is the 3rd game that's already making me nostalgic. I mean, I don't prefer it to Wii Sports Bowling, but it's still pretty fun from what I remember. Alright, next is Evergrace. This is a launch title for the PlayStation 2, and it was actually a game made by From Software of all people. So that could give us a reason to get that game. From Software made a couple launch titles for the PS2. I might even have another one coming up. Alright, next is Namco Museum. You can't go wrong with Namco Museum. But this one's pretty vanilla. Like, pretty much all the games that you expect on a Namco Museum are here. Like Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, Miss Pac-Man, Galaxian. You know, it's the most vanilla you can get. And everyone likes vanilla. Alright, next is Genji, Dawn of the Samurai. I remember liking this game. It was a pretty like fun little hack and slash game. I believe it's pretty fairly easy. So like it's kind of like a nice nonchalant kind of hack and slash game. It's not like the sequel, Genji Days of the Blade, with its beautiful giant enemy crabs running around the screen. Alright, next is I got a bunch of random discs in here. So I got my original copy of ATV Off-Road Fury and Star Wars Starfighter. I don't know why they're in here. I guess maybe because I really didn't have anywhere else to put them. And then some random copies of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, and Fun with Dick and Jane with Jim Carrey. I don't know. Those just ended up there. Alright, next is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, Tony Hawk's Underground, and Tony Hawk's Proving Ground. I haven't played Proving Ground, so I can't really say on that one, and I haven't played much of Underground either, but Pro Skater 3 and Pro Skater 4, these games are awesome. Pro Skater 3 especially. This might be one of my favorite sports games of all time. The soundtrack, it slaps in this, and it's just awesome. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Tony's world, everyone. And then Pro Skater 4, I like what they added to Pro Skater 4. But I don't know, something about 3 kind of makes it just a bit better in my eyes. That's just my opinion. I know there's some people who like Pro Skater 4 over 3, and that's perfectly fine. I can totally see why. Next is Kinetica. This is a racing game, a high-speed racing game with like these weird humanoid bike things. It's pretty good, actually, and if you're looking for this game out in the wild, it does come with an art book, so just keep that in mind. And also, did you know that the same developers of this game went on to do the God of War games? Yeah, it's Sony Santa Monica. They did that game before they did the entire God of War series. Next is Ace Combat 4, Shattered Skies. I haven't really played this that much. It's a flight sim, and I don't really think I'm into flight sims that much. I like dogfighting games, and I think Ace Combat, has some dogfighting in it, but I don't exactly know. Alright, next is 007 Agent Under Fire. I remember liking this game, but not as much as Nightfire or even From Russia with Love, which are my favorite Bond games so far. Alright, next is Haven, Call of the King. This game is pretty ambitious for the PS2. It has this like seamless space to planet transitions, kind of like what No Man's Sky would later do, and it's pretty ambitious, and it's pretty smooth as well. And it's also a 3D platformer as well, and it's pretty good. It's pretty, like I said, it's ambitious, and it's an interesting look at like what could be possible at the time. Alright, next is The Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, and The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. Two Towers is actually pretty fun. Beat 'em up. That just takes the plot of the movie, and then Return of the King starts with the end of Two Towers, and then goes from Return of the King's plot. I never played Return of the King, but my brother was really into this game back in the day, excuse me. And then Two Towers, like I said, I didn't grow up with that game, but playing it now, I really liked it. Alright, next is Micro Machines. Fun racing game. You're these little cars like going around what we would know as like kind of like as everyday objects, basically. So around like trees and like logs and pipes and whatnot. It's a fun racing game. Alright, next is Bombastic, a Capcom game. You know the game Devil Dice on the PS1? I believe this is that game, but it's just on the PS2. And you roll dice around to solve puzzles. It gave me kind of Bomberman vibes, but it's not necessarily a Bomberman game, if that makes any sense. I really liked it, and I got it for pretty cheap as well. Alright, next is Tomb Raider Anniversary. Great game. Probably one of my favorite Tomb Raider games. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's Tomb Raider Anniversary. Although I still need to play some of the most recent Tomb Raider games, but Anniversary is fantastic. Alright, next is Star Ocean Till the End of Time. We're getting down to the bottom of pile number 1. This is going to be a theme you're going to be seeing throughout this video. RPGs that I have not played that much. This one, I haven't played that much. I only played like a half hour of it, and half hour to me is nothing in an RPG. But I do want to get it around to RPG, like the PS2 RPGs. And I like RPGs. How many times can I say RPGs? Oh, excuse me. Oh God, that was bad. Sorry. But I do like RPGs. I just need to be in the right mindset for like a long RPG like that. Because I'm about to finish Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. So I might get around to some of them, which I'll probably explain later. I'm rambling now. Alright, so the last two games in pile number 1 are Grand Theft Auto 3 and Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Grand Theft Auto 3, I started playing this the other day, and it's like still pretty great. And then Vice City I haven't played, and strangely I don't have San Andreas. I don't know why I don't have San Andreas. That's a lot of people's favorite in the series. But maybe someday, or probably by the time I do another one of these. So we'll see. And for pile number 2, we got Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, Sly 2, Band of Thieves, and Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves. Let's start with the first game first. Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus it's a game that's fairly simple on paper, like a linear 3D platformer with some stealth elements thrown in, but it does everything that it needs to be like such a great game, and I love it. I even did a Let's Play on this game a little while back, so go check that out if you want to see my full thoughts. But needless to say, I loved it. And then Sly 2, I just finished this one the other day, and just like with the first game, it takes that simplicity, it adds quite a bit to it. It adds like some bigger worlds, being able to play as Murray and Bentley, and a lot more gadgets, and some great characters as well, like boss characters. Again, also pretty good. I'm also planning on Let's Playing Sly 2. And then Sly 3, I haven't played that much of this game, but for what little I have played, it's really good. Sony, if you're watching this, you're probably not, but if you are watching this, please make more Sly Cooper games. I'm glad that you're keeping Ratchet & Clank alive, but please, we need more Sly Cooper games. We only got 4 games. Please, make another one. That's just me. Alright, and then next is Smuggler's Run, a Rockstar game and a launch title for the PS2. And with Sly Cooper, that game's pretty bouncy, like in terms of like it's elegant and simple, but it's bouncy, like because you're in like bouncy like buggies delivering drugs at all costs. Alright, next is Spy Hunter, and Smuggler's Run's a good game, and Spy Hunter, haven't played enough of it to form an opinion. Alright, next is Super Bust-A-Move with the weird-ass cover. And this game is good, but man, that cover does not fit the game at all. Just like Bust-A-Move 2 on the PS1 and Saturn. Except that one's even worse. And funny. Alright, next is Xenosaga 2. I almost said Zeo Saga. No, it's Xenosaga. This one's kind of uncommon on the PS2, but it's going to be one of those RPGs I'm going to end up playing after this video goes up. Alright, next is Soul Calibur 2 and Soul Calibur 3. Soul Calibur 2 is amazing. It's one of my favorite fighting games. And it's amazing. And you get to play as Heihachi. You can beat up Heihachi with gun swords. And then Soul Calibur 3 is also really good. I like the character customization in it. I haven't really made anything like overly crazy, but it's a good game. Those games are amazing. Next is Primal, a pretty underrated beat 'em up where you get to transform into different monsters in this like sort of demon world. Yeah, it's pretty I'd even say it's kind of a hidden gem on the PS2 because not many people know about that game. Alright, next is Mercury Meltdown Remix. This is a puzzle game where you get to like manipulate Mercury, change its density, and like change the colors of it around. There's also a version of it on the Wii called Mercury Meltdown Revolution, I think. It's a subtitle that begins with Re. Alright, next is Conflict Desert Storm. I'm not a fan of tactical shooters or like just tactics period, but I really like this game actually. It kind of takes like the Ghost Recon stuff and kind of simple. Oh god, sorry about the camera, but And it makes it like really fun and kind of engaging more than Ghost Recon, in my opinion, at least. Alright, next is Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, and Crash Twinsanity. Let's start with Wrath of Cortex first. I remember liking Crash Wrath of Cortex, but it had some difficulty spikes. Like, it had too many vehicle sections that only last one level, and some of the bosses were pretty lame. But the core game itself is pretty good. But I just don't like how there's like so many vehicles, and you only see most of them once throughout the game. And then Twinsanity is also pretty good. I like the open world stuff and the acapella music, kind of like what Mario Sunshine does. I kind of consider Twinsanity kind of like a Mario Sunshine of the Crash series, where it's not my favorite of the series, but I do like what it has to offer. Alright, next is Frogger, The Great Quest. Yeah, it's bad. But to be fair, a 3D platformer starring Frogger isn't a bad idea, but they just executed it really poorly. Next is Intellivision Lives. Also, I forgot to mention with Crash Twinsanity, I really like the humor in that game. It's surprisingly really funny. But Intellivision Lives, it's pretty cool that we get to play Intellivision games on the PS2, but at the same time, you're playing Intellivision games on the PS2, so it's pretty awkward to control some of the games. But it's a cool novelty. I'll give it that. All right, next is Virtua Fighter 4. Haven't played it that much, but I hear it's a great fighting game. And next is Okagi Shadow King. Got this game from CM Retro, so thank you, Chris, for sending this my way. And I should start playing this. It's another RPG. Yeah, I'm thinking of starting it after this video. It's another RPG. Like I said twice already. All right, next we got a couple Star Wars games. We got Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith, which is actually not too bad of a movie license game. And I actually say that this game actually is as good as the movie. Next is Star Wars Battlefront. Got this from Tylord Stevenson. Thank you, Steve, for sending this my way. And this is a pretty good game as well. But Battlefront 2, I think, is just a slight bit better, like from what I hear. Alright, and then we got the 2 Lego Star Wars games. If you grew up in the 2000s, you played Lego Star Wars. Either these ones on like the PS2, Xbox, or GameCube, or you played Complete Saga on the Wii, like I did. And I mean, it's Lego Star Wars. This is like 2000s nostalgia incarnate. Alright, next is Eco, another game with god-awful box art, but it's not. It doesn't even have like the privilege of like being funny like Super Bust-a Move. This is just terrible artwork compared to like the European and Japanese one. I haven't played this game in quite a while, but for what I did play, it left quite an impression on me. I mean, because like it's a pretty quiet like game. Like you bringing this girl around just by hand, and it's pretty good. But I need to go back to it and I guess finish the game and see what the rest of the story, how the rest of the story goes. All right, next is Rogue Galaxy. Just got this one recently. This one I'm definitely gonna start playing afterwards. It's another RPG, and I hear really good things about it. All right, next is Medal of Honor Frontline and Medal of Honor European Assault. Frontline is really good. It's kind of like the Saving Private Ryan game we never got, because it starts with D-Day, and I guess in a way it kind of replicates Saving Private Ryan. I haven't seen all of Saving Private Ryan, but if we're going by like the first like mission, then yeah, it does. Excuse me, I did a Let's Play of this game last year. If you want to check it out, there, it's a really good first-person shooter. And European Assault is also pretty good. I think this one is about the final stand of the war, like the final march towards Nazi Germany, I think. But it's also pretty good. Alright, we're getting down to the wire for the pile number 2. You got the Mortal Kombat Deception Premium Pack. I bought this thinking that this was actually Mortal Kombat Deception. It's not, but but it's kind of a cool thing to have, and I could play the first Mortal Kombat on the PS2. Plus some other stuff that can go into Mortal Kombat Deception, I think. Alright, next is Armored Core 2. This case is disgusting. swap it out. It's a pretty good mech game and another launch title. And yeah, this one was also made by From Software. So if any of you are into Dark Souls and like Bloodborne, you can just seek that out if you're into. What's it? Why can't it? I was just talking about it a second ago. From Software. All right, last two games. Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Again, haven't played that much of it, but it also comes with a Devil May Cry demo disc in here. It's pretty good. But then you get Resident Evil 4, of course, one of the greatest games of all time. I love this game, just like everyone else does. This game is a masterpiece, and it will forever be a masterpiece. Like, it's not particularly a scary game, but it's a very tense game, and it does a great job at mixing action and like tense moments. And that's what I love about Resident Evil 4. Okay, and for pile number try, we got Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. I really like Metal Gear Solid 2 a lot, actually. I don't know what it is, because like this game is considered the black sheep amongst the Metal Gear series, but I don't know. This might be my favorite in the series. And then 3, I haven't played yet, but this one's a lot of people's favorite, so I should give it a try someday. Snake Eater! No. I'm not even going to try to do the rest of the song. Alright, next, speaking of Metal Gear, Zone of the Enders, a game with the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo in it. And I feel like a lot of people bought this game because of that demo. And the game itself, Zone of the Enders, is a good little hack and slash with mechs. And it's also Kojima produced, so it kind of has like that kind of stamp of quality, I guess, in a way. Alright, next is Rygar. Another pretty good hack and slash, but it's in Roman times. And it's Rygar. Alright, next is the Sega Classics Collection. This is a collection of Sega games from, I think, the arcade versions of these games, and they've been remastered for the PS2 in 3D, which is, for some games it looks like pretty good, and then for some games it looks weird, like, I guess, Golden Axe. So I guess some games have aged better than others on that collection, but it's an interesting little thing to have. Alright, next is Tekken Tag Tournament and Tekken 4. I don't have Tekken 5, but like Tekken Tag Tournament, I hear a lot of great things about this game. I should start playing it sometime. And then Tekken 4, I do hear some good things about that, but like not as much as Tag Tournament or 5. And then I guess on the subject of Tekken, I also got Death by Degrees, which is decent. It's one of those beat-em-ups where you have to use the right analog stick to fight. It's kind of weird on the first time playing, but it's alright. Next is Tak and the Power of Juju. Another kind of underrated 3D platformer. This is not the one I vividly remember. I remember there was one on the DS that I really liked, both as a kid, and I still really like it now. It was like a 2D... I wouldn't say Metroidvania, but it was like a 2D like mission-based platformer. I really like that one. Alright, next is Kingdom Hearts. Another RPG I'm probably going to start. But I did play Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't like the start of Kingdom Hearts 2. It was so slow and boring. But I want to go back to Kingdom Hearts 2 sometime. And I want to play the first game probably first before I continue on with 2. And I gotta say, I really like the cover for Kingdom Hearts 2. Alright, next is Maximo, Ghost to Glory, a Capcom game. And this is a successor to the Ghosts and Goblins games. It's beat 'em up, 3D platformer. Like a lot of these games I have. This one's pretty good. It's pretty challenging as well, so I feel like a good challenge. Get that game. So I guess it keeps with the challenge of Ghosts and Goblins in a way. Alright, next is Pac-Man World 2, Pac-Man World 3, and Pac-Man World Rally. Pac-Man World 2 is a game I have a lot of good memories playing. And I Let's Played the first game if you want to go check that out. And I might Let's Play this one in the near future. And then World 3, a game I remember liking as a kid, but I never finished it. And like, it's definitely the weakest out of the 3, but I still like it, even though I don't know what happened to my copy of it. This is my original copy, by the way. And it's water damaged. And then World Rally, I actually really like this game. It's no Mario Kart, but it's no Eminem's kart racing. Alright, next is Nicktoons Unite. Another pretty nostalgic game for me. Even if at the time when I was a kid, I didn't really grow up with Nickelodeon. I was more of a Cartoon Network kid. Like, I didn't know what Fairly Odd Parents, like, all these characters were, but I wasn't a Nickelodeon kid until, like, much later in life when I was, like, probably 10 or 11, and then I started, like, watching some of the shows and, like, starting to love them. And that game's pretty good. Alright, next is Breath of Fire Dragon Quarter. Haven't played it. Next is Extreme G3 with Extreme G Racing 3. It's a good race. It's a good high-speed racing game. And same with this one, Wipeout Fusion. I've got a lot of racing games. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I've got a lot of racing games. Alright, next, I guess continuing on with racing games, we got SSX, SSX3, and SSX On Tour. These games are just like with Tony Hawk. These games, they kind of make you feel like a badass in a way. Well, maybe not like a badass, because you're not, like, you know, shooting guns on them, but, like, just getting, like, those, like, awesome tricks, like, combos, it's just a lot of fun. First game's pretty good. This one was a launch title for the PS2. 3 is probably my favorite, or SSX, I think Tricky, actually, is my favorite. Let me take that back. And then On Tour is pretty fun. I want to get the GameCube version of that, because it has Mario characters, and that'll be an interesting thing to see. Alright, next is Jeremy McGrath's Supercross World. I like the green on the cover, not gonna lie. Alright, next is Hitman Blood Money. Haven't played it yet. I should, since Hitman 3 is coming next year. Alright, next is Hurdy-Gurdy. I like the title of it, so I guess that's why I bought it. I don't exactly know what kind of game it is. I haven't played that much of it. It looks like a puzzle game from the back, I think, or like a platformer. I have no idea. Next is Spider-Man and Spider-Man 3. I don't know. I have Spider-Man 2 on the Xbox. Spider-Man it's decent, but I'd go for the GameCube or the Xbox version. The Xbox version especially, so you can get the Kraven the Hunter level with it. And then Spider-Man 3 was a game I never played. I had it as a kid, but it was more of a game my brother would play. So that's that. Alright, next is Ghost Recon Jungle Storm. I don't know why I have this, because I'm not into Ghost Recon. I guess because I was trying to get into Ghost Recon, and the only thing I remember about that game is because there was one of your troops is named Gribble, and I would always poke fun at him for just being Gribble because he was just bad at his job. Like, he had really bad AI. And then the last two games in pile number Try are Dark Cloud and Dark Cloud 2. Dark Cloud 2 is kind of an uncommon game. And then Dark Cloud, it's also a fun game. It's an adventure game. If the cover doesn't give you Zelda vibes, then the game itself will, because it's pretty much kind of like a Zelda game, but it has like a bit more RPG elements to it, and yeah, it's pretty good. And it's not too expensive either. The first Dark Cloud. Dark Cloud 2 might cost you a bit. It just depends on where you get it. Alright, here we go. Pile number 4. So we got Ratchet & Clank, Ratchet & Clank Going Commando, Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal, and Ratchet Deadlocked. So, just like with Sly Cooper, this is another series I would consider one of my favorites on the PS2. So the first game, it's kind of like with Sly Cooper, where instead of stealth, we got a lot of weapons. It's time to rip the galaxy a new one. Rip it a new black hole, if you know what I'm saying. No. But yeah, Ratchet & Clank, it's not the best one in the series. It's kind of weird to go back to, but it's still a really good game, and I'm considering Let's Playing that game in the near future. Going Commando is also really good, but it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard, like a lot harder than the first game. Like sometimes even on the verge of unfair at some points, but it's still a fairly good game. And then Up Your Arsenal. Up Your Arsenal. Get it? I do. But this game is amazing. This game's the best one out of the original 3. And like if the subtitle Up Your Arsenal doesn't crack a smile on your face, the rest of the game will. All these games are actually pretty funny. And then Ratchet Deadlocked is a bit different from the others. It's Ratchet by himself in like sort of gladiator battles to the death, and It's very good. All the games are pretty similar to each other, so you can pretty much jump into any of them, if I'm being honest. Alright, next is Finding Nemo, a game from my childhood that I still kind of like to this day, but up until you get to the slider puzzles. Even as a kid, I hated them then, and I still hate them now. Alright, next is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I don't know why I bought that. I mean, I like the movie, but really? Alright, next is another copy of Ace Combat 4. The only reason why I have a second copy is because it came with a memory card, and the memory cards and this game were $5, so I was basically getting a memory card for the same price as the game. So like, I got a game for free with a memory card. Alright, next is Power Drome. I don't remember buying that at all. Alright, next, Onimusha Warlords and Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny. These games play exactly like Resident Evil, but instead of survival horror in like a mansion with Jill sandwiches, you got samurais and feudal Japan and melee combat. It's pretty good. I don't have the third game, and I don't have Dawn of Dreams, but still on the lookout for those. But they're underrated games. Like, I mean, they got PS4 releases, but like the PS2 games are where to go. Alright, next, MDK2 Armageddon. Haven't played it. It's actually a BioWare game, believe it or not. You wouldn't think that would be a BioWare game, but it is. Alright, next is Ridge Racer 5, another launch title for the PS2. Alright, next, Treasure Planet. I personally really liked the movie, and I'd say this game is a 3D platformer, just set within the movie, and it's got solar surfing and this guy from the movie. What was his name? John Silver, I think. Long John Silver is a fish, but no, it's good. It's just like the movie. It's pretty good, but I like the movie a bit better. All right, next is some yet more racing games. ATV Off-Road Fury, ATV Off-Road Fury 2, ATV Off-Road Fury 3, and ATV Off-Road Fury 4, just sneaking behind the third one. I don't really have much experience with these three, but the first one is a game that is really nostalgic for me for one specific reason. I would always go into like this mode that kind of had an open world, and I would always drive to the end of the map just to see your character go flying in the opposite direction with the ATV flying with them, and just see him crash to the ground like, If anyone has played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, next is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. This is a pretty good game. It's a mission-based Need for Speed. It's kind of basic races and stuff. Alright, next is iToy Kinetic. I found this for really cheap in like some of the cheapo bins at one local game store, and I don't know. It does have the game inside there and a silver iToy, but maybe someday I want to get the iToy play games, because I'm not gonna lie, they actually look kind of fun. Like, that's me being like completely brutally honest with you. All right, next, Dora Journey to the Purple Planet. Okay, I can explain. Okay, so basically, with this game, I bought it for an April Fool's Day video that I ended up actually doing. You can check it out. Where I actually got quite a bit of comedy value out of this game. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. It is a bad game, but just whenever I pop it in, it's so funny. It's like Mass Effect Andromeda. It's a bad game, but like I can poke holes at it and get some good laughs out of me, or if like I have some friends over. Alright, next is Sonic Riders, and then I also got Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Riders I haven't played yet, but I've heard some good things about it, but I hear it's like really complicated for a racing game. And then Unleashed, this one is based on the Wii version of Sonic Unleashed, and just stick with the Wii version, or with like the 360 or PS3 version. But it's kind of a cool novelty to have. Like, well, maybe not cool, but it's kind of a neat little oddity that Sonic Unleashed is on the PlayStation 2 of all consoles. And then next is Corvette. Another pretty good racing game, and according to the back, the only thing faster is another Corvette. I thought it was the only game where you could play as Corvettes, but I guess I'm wrong. Alright, and then for the last two games in pile number 4 is Max Payne and Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne. And Max Payne is really good. I was going to say it's painfully good, but no. That wouldn't make sense at all, but this game is so good. Bullet time is just, it's so badass. It's like, awesome. I'm already finished through chapter 1 of that game. And then Max Payne 2 I have on standby, just so after I finish the first game I can immediately jump into the second one. And for pile number 5, we got Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy X-2, and Final Fantasy XII. Side note, if you ever call Final Fantasy X Final Fantasy X, you're wrong. It's like calling Grand Theft Auto 4 Grand Theft Auto IV. It just doesn't sound right at all. But anyways, Final Fantasy X is another RPG to add to my RPG backlog, excuse me. And it's a game I hear really good things about, but also some kind of bad things about it, like especially about that Titus Yuna laughing scene, especially. And then 10-2, I don't really hear anything about it. And in Final Fantasy 12, I guess I can add that as well. I don't really hear anything about that one either, but it's like people like it or people don't. I don't know. There's no in between, from what I've seen at least. All right, next is Power Rangers Dino Thunder. For as long as I've had this game, and I've had this game for a long time, I've never had the disc for it. It's really strange. I don't know why. I don't know where it went. And maybe one of these days I should just like buy a copy to try it out and what I've been missing. Ford Racing 2, and then Buzz the Mega Quiz, Buzz Junior Robo Jam, and Buzz Junior Jungle Party. I personally really like this game. I got a lot of good memories playing these games, and I still have fun playing them to this day with like my brother and like even my mother. Actually, it's just a fun game to play with like a bunch of people. Like I don't know what it is, but I really like it. I've got like a bunch of Buzz controllers behind me as well. Alright, next is an actual copy of Mortal Kombat Deception, but it's in a GameStop case. So, at least I have it. Alright, and next is Siphon Filter Omega Strain. I hear really good things about the Siphon Filter series. Not particularly about this installment, but like, I hear it's a really good series. And I played the PS1 games, and those are pretty good. Alright, next, Hot Shots Golf 3 and Hot Shots Golf 4. I guess this you would say this is like Mario Golf, but for the PlayStation. And I hear this is a really fun series, and I actually like golf, so maybe I should give those a shot someday. It's like very arcadey kind of golf. Alright, next is Unlimited Saga. All I know about this game is that it's an RPG by Square Enix. That's it. Alright, next is Silent Scope, another launch title. And I remember seeing this game in arcades, like in like camping sites, where it had like this big gun that you would like mount yourself to like snipe people. That was pretty good. Shut up, car! Alright, next is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Plus a ticket! Oh my god, I need to look through this. It's not in there. But Chamber of Secrets is actually a pretty good game. Like, it's kind of a Zelda-style adventure game. Okay, maybe not Zelda-style, but it's an adventure game. That's pretty good. And then I haven't played much of Prisoner of Azkaban. Alright, next is the PopCap Hits Volume 1. I'm still looking out for Volume 2. But it has Bejeweled 2 and it has Astro Pop. I'm sure all of you have played Bejeweled, and Astro Pop is kind of fun. Like, I like these kind of casual games, and I really like Plants vs. Zombies, which was also made by PopCap, so like I really like them. It kind of sucks that EA isn't really doing anything with them besides just them squirting out more Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare games and that Battle for Neighborville game. Alright, next is Marvel Ultimate Alliance Special Edition. So this is just X-Men Legends, but take it out of the X-Men universe and just put it with like the rest of the Marvel characters, and it's pretty good. Alright, next is Rayman Arena. This is, I guess, a racing game plus like a battle game, all in one. I really like the racing part of it. It's like racing on foot with like Rayman and pals, and then the battle mode. Like, I don't know, I haven't tried the battle mode. And then I've also got Rayman 3, which is a pretty beautiful looking game for the PS2. Like, and it's pretty good as well. I don't know why now I'm starting to show what games are complete. Alright, next is Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX in a GameStop case. This game doesn't work anymore. I think I got that back when like GameStop was starting to get rid of their PS2 games. Alright, next is Ski-Doo Snow X Cross Racing. Similar to ATV Off-Road Fury, it's a game that I would pop in just to crash in, but unlike in ATV Off-Road Fury, I would actually, you know, try to do legitimate tricks and whatnot. Alright, next is The Getaway and The Getaway Black Monday. I don't really know anything about either one of these games, aside from them, I guess, trying to be, like, maybe not trying to, but they're GTA clones set in London. I heard they aren't too bad, actually, but I don't know, I couldn't really get into them. Alright, next is NBA Street, a really fun basketball game. I'm not really into basketball in real life. Like, I'll occasionally play it, like, you know, shoot some hoops, but I won't watch it on TV. But that game, it's so fun. It's like arcade. It's like NBA Jam, I guess, in a way. Alright, next is X Games Skateboarding. Meh. Just stick with Tony Hawk or Skate, or like some of the other skateboarding games from the time. Alright, last ones in pile number 5 are Devil May Cry and Devil May Cry 3, Dante's Awakening Special Edition. And Devil May Cry 1 is actually pretty good. It feels kind of dated now, but still feels like a really good game. And then Devil May Cry 3, I haven't played enough of it to say, but I hear from a lot of people that this game is amazing. And Raise Hell, and I'll definitely will raise hell at some point, probably down the pipeline. Alright, we're at the home stretch, ladies and gentlemen. Pile number 6. Starting with Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy, Jak 2, and Jak 3, along with Jak X Combat Racing. So let's start with the Precursor Legacy. I really like this game. It's a pretty impressive game for what Naughty Dog was able to do with the dynamic loading and making a seamless open world 3D platformer. It's great, and it's a great 3D collectathon platformer. Excuse me. And then Jak 2, I'm gonna be honest, I'm mixed on Jak 2. On one hand, I like some of the stuff that they've added. Like, I like the story and like the gunplay and some of the new stuff that Jak has to work with, but I really don't like the difficulty. This game is such an unnecessary pain in the ass. It's insane. Like, it's like the game is always on insane difficulty and it never comes down. And then Jak 3 took out the difficulty and the cramped open world of Jak 2 and made it like pretty much the best game in the series, in my opinion. Like, Jak 3 is my favorite. And don't ask what happened here. I just had to tape that up. That's how it was when I bought it off eBay. And same with Sly Cooper. That's why I had that like rip in the case. And then Jak X. I played a little bit of this and it's pretty fun. I wouldn't say it's like anything like Crash Team Racing, but it's still good. Alright, next is Defender. I think it's a dogfighting game made by Midway. Alright, next is Drome Racers. It's actually a Lego game, believe it or not. Excuse me. Next is Fantavision. I really don't know how to describe this game other than it's a puzzle game with fireworks, and it was a launch title for the PS2. That's it. Yeah, sorry I don't have much to talk about with a lot of these. I haven't played a majority of the games in this pile. Next is Kango, Master of Bushido. This one's a fighting game with Kango, with the Bushido code, I guess. Alright, next is another copy of Pac-Man World 2. This is my original copy, but it's really scratched, so that's why I have that other copy you saw earlier in the video. Alright, next is The Mark of Kree and its sequel, Rise of the Kasai. The Mark of Kree is another pretty underrated PS2 game. It's a beat 'em up, kind of set in like the Pacific Islands, so it has this like Polynesian, like this big guy who kind of reminds me of Maui from Moana. And these games are both really good, actually. I don't know which one's better than the other, but you can find these games for pretty cheap, actually. Alright, next is Seek and Destroy. Kind of a fun strategy game with a tank. Like, it's not bad. It's Next is Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2002. Who cares? Next, Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore. This is just a port of Dead or Alive 2 from the Dreamcast. I don't exactly know what the differences are between the two. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments. Alright, next is Jet Li Rise to Honor. A pretty decent beat 'em up game. It's kind of like with Death by Degrees, where you have to use the right analog stick to get your moves out. It feels kind of awkward when you first start it, but as the game goes on, you get kind of used to it. It's pretty decent. Next is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Actually, a pretty good 3D platformer based on the movie, and you can ride hamburgers and and basically just follow the plot of the movie. And that game does a pretty good job at doing that. Alright, next is Summoner. He's not the Summoner, he's just Summoner. And this is another launch title for the PS2, another RPG, I believe, made by the same people who would later do the Saints Row, the first two Saints, or I think all the Saints Row games, I believe. Alright, next is Reign of Fire. I forgot I had this in my collection, and apparently it's based on a movie with choppers and dragons. Yeah, choppers and dragons. Make that a D&D campaign. No. Next is The Sims Bustin' Out and The Sims 2. Haven't played either one of these, but at one point my brother was really into The Sims 2 for like a couple hours, and then he never played it again. And also, my copy of Sims 2 has the PC version of the manual for some reason. I don't know why. Alright, next is Shrek 2. It's actually not too bad of a beat 'em up platformer game, starring your favorite Shrek characters. Alright, next is Midnight Club Street Racing, another Rockstar game and another launch title. This one's pretty good. There's just other racing games that I would rather play. Yeah, but I hear Midnight Club 3 is pretty good. MX Unleashed, another off-road racing game. Again, I've got a lot of racing games. I have no idea why I have this many. Alright, we're coming down to the wire. So we got Gran Turismo 3, A-Spec, and Gran Turismo 4. I couldn't really get into these games. Maybe I'm just not into like simulation racing. But apparently Gran Turismo 4 is so good, it doesn't have a screenshot on the back. Alright, and then next is another copy of Pinball Hall of Fame, the Gottlieb Collection. This is my original copy, but it doesn't work. Like, you think that's gonna play? I don't think so. Alright, last two games. Killzone, which is a pretty good FPS. It's like the manual, the disc, they all have the same eyes. And the last PlayStation 2 game in my collection is Shadow of the Colossus. A game that many people would say is like probably the best game on the system. And I've only gotten to the first Colossi. I'm gonna be honest, it didn't really grip me within the first like Colossi, but maybe if I play further, it'll grab my attention. But I remember the game feeling kind of clunky, and I really didn't like the horse controls. But I don't know, maybe I should just keep playing, and maybe it'll get better from there. And yeah, that is it. And that is my entire PlayStation 2 collection, ladies and gentlemen. I can barely even keep it all in the frame, that's how big it is. But yeah, that is it. So thank you all for watching the video, and please comment, like, and subscribe. And next video is, I'm not sure what it's going to be. You'll see in the next few days. And I hope you all continue to stay safe out there. So shock the world and us, amiibros. Goodbye.